I'm pleased to introduce our first of three presenters, Bonnie Blain. Bonnie has been a registered nurse in the Central Alberta MS Clinic in Red Deer, Alberta for the past 18 years. She is a multiple sclerosis certified nurse and is Canadian Neuroscience Nursing Certified. Bonnie has presented to healthcare professionals and patient groups on issues concerning MS, disease-modifying therapies, and multidisciplinary approaches to MS care. She has extensive clinical expertise and is committed to effectively empowering patients to self-manage. Over to you, Bonnie.
So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to be here with you, and I'm glad that you have joined us. Thanks very much to the MS Society for asking me to present to you. I'm just going to talk a little bit to you about finding some supports after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It's a time of being uncertain and looking for some answers. And lots of times people feel like they need some extra help and some extra information. And so this is a time when people are looking for some extra team members. And so I thought I would just give some suggestions on where and who you might be helpful for getting those answers. So I live in Red Deer, Alberta. We have an MS clinic there, and I work in the MS clinic there. And so one of my hobbies is photography. So this is my one of my pictures that I took just outside of Red Deer. We have beautiful skies and beautiful sunsets there. So I never ever give a talk without talking about what multiple sclerosis is, even if I'm sure that my audience knows. I did one time go out and give a presentation, and I forgot to talk about it. And in the middle of it, somebody said, "So what is MS?" And I felt so embarrassed afterwards. I was like, I'll never ever again talk without discussing what actually multiple sclerosis is. So I presume everybody here knows, but bear with me while I talk about it. Chronic MS is a chronic autoimmune disease of the central nervous system, and the central nervous system is the brain and spinal cord. But outside of the brain and spinal cord, the optic nerves are also affected by multiple sclerosis. So this is where myelin coats the nerves in the brain, the spinal cord, and on the optic nerves. And in multiple sclerosis, the myelin is disrupted by the immune system response to it, and that is what causes symptoms of MS. Common symptoms are fatigue, decreased coordination, weakness, sensory changes, and people can have changes in vision, in thinking, and in mood. So the cause is unknown still, and there is much research going on around the globe. In Canada, and certainly in places where MS societies exist, a lot of research is funded by the MS Society, but we have so much research going on, and it is very heartening to see how much research actually does go on in MS. And it's, I feel like someday we're actually going to have the answer. Every time we, I go to a conference or I log in, people are they're researching the most interesting parts. But the immune system is, the human body and the immune system and the brain are just very complex organs, and so it's not an easy task to actually figure out what the cause is. So MS is an individualized disease. It's not the same for everybody. So for some people it's very, very mild, and so for other people it can be much more complicated or severe. What is problematic probably for people with multiple sclerosis is that it is unpredictable. So for lots of people, when they are diagnosed with a condition or a disease, they go to their doctor and their doctor says, so this is what's going to happen. And so they kind of know. With multiple sclerosis, they don't. It's unpredictable. We can't, it's hard for us to tell. So this gives us some unstable physical, emotional, and financial burden. And that's why this is a disease where it's hard to do it by yourself. And it's important to have a team of people around you. And it's also important to understand that this is not an easy disease for just a doctor to, a neurologist just to treat. So one of the things that I noticed, probably the very first thing I noticed when I came into MS nursing, was that doctors don't treat this on their own. They are the first people to say, we'll have to, talk with the nurses or the rest of the team to see what we should do. And this doesn't happen in lots of other places. Surgeons don't often, consult the rest of the team or other doctors, but in MS care, the neurologists are very often consulting with the rest of the team to find out what's the best thing to do for a patient. So we in MS care, we use a team approach, and so we have lots of people that we can use on our team. Maybe a neurologist, a nurse practitioner, we have occupational therapists, physical therapists, we use social work, we use dietitians, speech and language pathologists, sometimes physiatry. So physiatrists are doctors of physical therapy. They're very much the specialists in physical therapy. We use mental health workers, and we use urologists or doctors who manage bladders and kidneys in that system. So I'll talk a little bit more about those as we go along, but I just wanted to show you that a team in MS is a pretty big team. So in our MS teams, our patients are very much the center of the team, and then we build the team around it. And so we recognize that not every person with MS would need every team member, but we want to have all of those disciplines available for the time that they might need them. And then we want to make sure that we have the right person at the right time in the right place, so that we can have timely care, that people don't need to have to wait. So you don't want to have a long time for referrals or those kinds of things. So we want to have a sort of seamless coordination kind of process for people if we can manage it. Not every, that doesn't happen all the time, but I mean, that's always our goal. So in Canada, we have the Canadian Network of MS Clinics, and this is a national network of academic and community-based clinics that is established for the advancement of patient services, education, and research in multiple sclerosis. And this is a pretty neat group of clinics. So you have to have meeting certain criteria to belong to this group. And the clinic resources in each clinic will vary, but they have to, again, meet a little criteria. But most clinics will offer some sort of team approach to MS care. And then in those clinics, they will be able to provide the ability to diagnose and treat MS. They may or may not have some form of research, but they will be able to provide education and support for people with MS, their families, and their caregivers. And so this will be a center of, probably a center of excellence, where people who go there will be confident that they are getting good specialized MS care. So if you were to want to know where the nearest MS clinic was to you, you can go on to either one of these websites, mssociety.ca or the Canadian Network of MS Society website, and they have a list there, so you could go on if you lived in, I don't know, if you lived in Prince George, BC, you could go there and see where the nearest clinic was to you, and that would give you, you'd be able to find the nearest clinic to you, so that you could, and then the most easiest process to get, most of them would accept a referral from a family doctor. So you would see a family doctor and say, I would like to have a referral to the MS clinic and they would be able to refer you there so you could see a neurologist and have access to the team there. So just going to go a little bit into the specific roles of the clinic. So the role of the MS clinic neurologist, this would be a neurologist that specializes in MS care. They keep current with the latest diagnostic criteria, guidelines, and treatment options, evaluates your medical conditions, monitors treatments, and provides your follow-up care. One of the nice parts of this is on a day-to-day basis, they are available to other team members, and they can, those other team members are able to assist you, but they have access to that physician for consult. They may or may not do research in MS, so they're available to help decide whether or not you might be eligible for clinical trials. And they have the access to this Canadian network for a discussion around complex cases. So this network often, they have an email, and they will often get together and discuss complex cases. So even in smaller clinics, we'll have access to neurologists in larger clinics, and they will get together and discuss complex cases. So MS nurses, and I'm a little bit biased because that's what I do, but this is an important role in an MS clinic. And so, you know, one of our biggest roles is relationships with our patients. And we spend a lot of time with our patients. And so we tend to have, our patients tend to feel quite comfortable with us. Lots of times our patients will sort of go into the neurologist and they do a lot of the very technical talk in there, and then they come in to us and kind of, then that's where they talk about things that are, that they, you know, things that are maybe a little bit harder to talk about. And so this is my attempt at some humor here. It's hard, this is a little bit hard because I'm getting no feedback from my audience, but hopefully you guys got a chuckle out of this. MS nurses are really, we're concerned about how MS affects your overall health and really about your quality of life. We're, you know, one of our things is how to help you and your family learn to live and manage MS. We provide education on many aspects of MS and help you to link with other health providers. We provide education and supports about your treatment regimen for disease-modifying therapies, and we coordinate care. And there is a process for us to become certified. We have a professional body called the International Organization of MS Nurses, and they do help us with a certification exam so that we can maintain professional standards. So some of the most common reasons that people will call us is questions about MS drugs or medications ordered by their neurologist. They call us about new and significant or worsened neurological symptoms. And this is one of the things that is helpful, particularly at the beginning when people are newly diagnosed. It's hard to decide, like, is this neurological? Is this normal? Is this new? Sure, you know, I'm not sure if I should go to my family doctor, should I go to emergency? And so sometimes people are able to call us and talk through that, or, you know, and sometimes that prevents a trip to the emergency room. So some clinics have the ability to be able to do that. Other clinics are not. They're, you know, very busy, and it's a little bit harder to get through to the nurses, but it depends on the clinic. Nurses are very much interested in helping patients and family members to adapt to their diagnosis and with that difficulty of coping and the anxiety and the uncertainty around that time around diagnosis. So they definitely want to provide some support for that, and they would like to make sure that people have the resources that they need, whether it's counseling or even if it's just some information, because it is an uncertain time. So some clinics have social workers who will provide support related to lifestyle, employment, financial plans. They also help with living situations, forms such as CPP and disability, and navigating community and government programs. And sometimes we'll provide counseling, or we'll provide a direction for counseling referrals. occupational therapists are a very important role. My occupational therapist is really my right hand. We often don't, we work so much together. She helps me to helps patients, our people with MS to look at daily living activities that are they're having problems with. And so our goal is to help people to continue to do the things that they want to do. So maybe they need some modifications, but we don't want them to miss out on anything. So if they need to have a wheelchair in the back corner so that they can continue to go to the zoo or to do something with their family, even though they don't use it for every day, but they might need it to get somewhere so they still have energy when they get there, then, she helps me with that. She helps with mobility and safety. Fatigue is probably her biggest workload. Memory, concentration, employment, adaptation and return to work plans, equipment, grab bars, and wheelchairs, and dealing with stress. So one of the things I ask her most is to help us to be prepared for the worst day of the year, so that on the day when people have the flu or they have a bad cold and they're just feeling lousy, we want to make sure that we have everything in place so that people can continue to manage even on that day. And so that even though they don't use it 364 days of the year, they've still got it on the day that they need it. So occupational therapy is a very important role. Physical therapists develop exercise programs. So there are exercise specialists. They help to manage and increase muscle tone, and they promote compensation for sensory loss and assist with utilizing adaptive equipment. They're also very important people in our clinic. Our registered dietitian keeps busy helping us with the nutritional strategies, gaining weight, losing weight. She helps very much with supplement use, making sure that we're not using anything that might be harmful, like stimulating the immune system. We don't want to do that. She helps with menu planning and budgeting, modifying foods, and she is our first line defense with improving bladder and bowel function. Mental health professionals are so very, very important in our clinic. They help people with their MS and their families adapt and cope with changing health. They help to diagnose and treat MS-related cognitive changes. Counseling is designed to alleviate the stress of chronic illnesses, and they promote and improve coping with the changes that may occur at work, at home, or within the family. So mental health professionals can be social workers, psychologists, counselors, psychiatry, anybody who really is working around the mental health profession. And it's very helpful when you have someone that has some knowledge of MS and how MS is unique. But when people have concerns with their mental health, any counselor or any resource is helpful. And so we encourage our people to seek assistance whenever they're feeling sad, or if they have periods where they are have depression. It's definitely a concern with mental health, because we know that it is, or with multiple sclerosis, because we know that mental health can be affected. So a very important part of MS care is having a family doctor. And we insist that our patients have a good family doctor, or as best family doctor as they can find. It's becoming more and more difficult, we find, for people to have a family doctor, and often they are finding their primary care in walk-in clinics. So we manage as best we can, but a family doctor helps you to manage your non-MS health issues, such as medical exams and other medical conditions. So even though a person may be diagnosed with MS, it's still very important for people to have their usual medical exams, their usual exams for cancer screening, such as breast exams, pap exams, and mammograms, all those kinds of things. And those are things that we really very much depend on family doctors to do. So most MS clinics or MS neurologists are happy to provide specialized MS care, and they are happy to have they're very happy to have family doctors provide primary care. And that primary care is the same primary care as it would be for anybody else. So we very often collaborate with our family doctors and ask them to organize treatment for MS symptoms in the community if we can. So for our patients out in rural communities that are outside of our city, we ask them to maybe facilitate treatment with physiotherapy or occupational therapy. And they know their resources very well. And so our family doctors out in the rural community are very important to us. So clinical trials, many MS clinics participate in research programs that are conducted, or they even collect data in registries. And participating in clinical trials for people that have MS can provide access to groundbreaking therapies, so drugs that are not even approved yet, and also allows people to contribute to a growing body of knowledge that is being collected. And the MS Society is so good about both funding as well as keeping people up to date with research. So this is just a little picture and a note about a study that the MS Society funded on a drug that was already, an older drug that was already in use, but the MS Society funded a small clinical trial on minocycline, and it actually was, it had very hopeful results for people with MS. And so it was just kind of a very cool article and a cool study with one of our MS neurologists, Dr. Dunham, that's out of Calgary. So it's very cool, and they advertise it, obviously. So if you're interested in clinical trials, always watch the MS Society website because they keep track of that kind of stuff for us. So I am getting close to the end of my time. I'm going to go through this quickly. Preparing for a clinic visit, there is a questionnaire on the MS Society website that you can go through. It talks about symptoms and functions. You can fill that out. There's also a pre-visit questionnaire on a website called msology.ca, and it is shorter, but it also helps you prepare. And then in preparing for a virtual visit, because we're doing more and more of those over COVID, it just quickly, know what platform you're going to use, with Zoom or Teams or whatever, and the purpose. Make sure you have a quiet space and treat your visit as if you're going to the office. Don't try and do it while you're driving. Know what you want to talk about, discuss if you have COVID concerns, and then make sure you know what the plan is during your visit, so that you know when your follow-up appointment is going to be. Make sure you understand what the next step will be. So I just wanted to wrap this up with 10 steps to wellness. These are my sort of go-to 10 steps. Eat well, drink lots of water, regular exercise, vitamin D, 4,000 international units daily. That's kind of the standard. Alcohol moderation, optimizing weight, minimizing stress, maximizing relationships, know who your team is, and then don't try and do everything at once because you'll fail. So I'm not sure, that was seems like I just talked really fast and it was a lot of stuff, but I do encourage you, if you are not part of an MS clinic, to seek one out. I know when you have a neurologist that certainly you become attached to them. It is important to weigh the pros and cons of having a team approach to that. And then I thank you so much for your attention to this presentation.
Thank you, Bonnie, for your presentation. There were lots of great information that you shared with the group there. I particularly like your 10 steps or healthy tips guideline there at the end. Certainly something we can all follow along for. Our next presenter is Dr. Scott Dunham. Dr. Dunham is a chiropractor by trade, now working in full-time academic administration at the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College. His personal relationship with MS began 11 years ago, and he has served in many roles within the MS Society, including being on the board of directors for the Toronto chapter, sitting on the research grant review panel, and participating in MS bike fundraising efforts. Currently, he volunteers with the MS one-on-one peer support program and enjoys speaking with the MS journey about his MS journey. He lives in Toronto with his wife and kids, 2 kids. Without further ado, I welcome Scott.
Okay. Thank you for having me tonight. It's always a pleasure to speak to the MS community, and it's a very special opportunity to speak at MS 101 for those of you who are in the process of being diagnosed, newly diagnosed, or supporting someone who is newly diagnosed. It's a pleasure. So let's see if I can advance. Okay. So with MS, there's a lot of things that we can't control. But one of the things that we can control about ourselves now is how we view ourselves. And your reaction to things coming your way is another thing that you have control over. Not necessarily the things coming your way, but the way you react to them as well. I'm going to use a number of quotes through this presentation. And the first one is that plans are useless, but planning is everything. And this is attributed to a lot of different people. So as was mentioned in the introduction, I am a chiropractor by trade. I graduated, 15 years ago now. And I had lots of plans after graduation. I had plans of traveling the world and practicing chiropractic and playing rugby all over the place. And the one sure thing about plans is that you're ultimately going to end up somewhere other than where you think you're going to. The first inkling I had that I had MS actually occurred when I was in school as an intern. For some reason, I had this sneaky suspicion that I had MS because I started experiencing tripping over my right foot. I had some tingling down my arm, and no one believed what I was saying to them. Even my supervising clinician who checked me out said, no, it's because you played rugby, you're working out too hard, you're stressed from school. And by the time I got an appointment with my doctor, those symptoms kind of went away, and never really gave that suspicion of MS a second thought. Medical school, medical student syndrome is quite prevalent, where students take on the conditions that they're studying. So I didn't give that much thought, and this picture was taken shortly thereafter. I did play rugby for Team Canada and for the provincial team, and this is during a trip to New Zealand, which I went in my 4th year of chiropractic. You can see me tip-top shape with a very unfortunate faux hawk haircut at the time. So fast forward 4 years later, I graduated from chiropractic school, started up my own clinic in Toronto. I was seeing patients, and I was actually teaching a little bit at the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College. And then weird stuff started happening. I started slurring my words. I bit my tongue accidentally, and I had some tingles down the right side of my body and tripping over my right foot. And it's interesting, as doctors, we make the worst patients because we can't really see the forest through the trees. When you are the patient, you can't see these things happening to you. If you give me a patient with those same symptoms, I immediately know something is wrong and I get them the appropriate action. But I couldn't recognize these things on myself at the time. And it took a colleague of mine to tell me that something was wrong and that I needed to get to the hospital. So off I went, taken quickly into the emergency room, given a CT scan, and because of the slurring words and because I was male and because I wasn't describing any visual symptoms, they declared that I had a stroke and promptly put me on warfarin and sent me on my way from there. It was a very tumultuous period of my life. The next 3 or 4 months are a complete blur. I went for numerous tests. I saw specialists. I paid a ton in hospital parking charges as I underwent tests to determine why, in fact, this otherwise healthy individual was having strokes. I was getting ECGs, I was going to put blood work, and all of these things came up negative until a test for a rare condition called antithrombin 3 deficiency came up positive, and that was it. And I was diagnosed as having this rare genetic condition. but the whole time I kept thinking something was wrong, and it just didn't make sense. But I was assured with a steady dose of blood thinners, I could live a normal, healthy life. But it all seemed just wrong. And it didn't take long to be proven right. So 4 months later, I had similar symptoms. The other side of my body started going numb. I had tingling, again, tripping over my own feet, but the opposite side of the body. So back to a hospital for more tests, got my MRI, saw the right neurologist, and my suspicions were confirmed that I indeed was diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS. So I knew a lot about the condition when I was diagnosed. We learned about it in school. I was actually treating MS patients in my chiropractic practice. So I had my own vision of what MS lay ahead for me. And it was kind of I was happy on one hand because I could go back to playing the sport that I loved. People on blood thinners can do a lot of things, but contact sports was not one of them. So I could go back to playing rugby and enjoying life as I did before, but knowing that my future was in fact quite uncertain at the time. And the impact of words people can have on people is important to illustrate. The first neurologist I saw mentioned to me that within 5 years, half of all patients with MS are using an assistive device. And this rang true for me. You know, it really hit me. And it's not actually a true statistic, as we learned on Tuesday. You know, after 20 years from diagnosis, still 2/3 of people with MS are walking and are very active, using only a cane. And that number continues to increase year over year over year. So the impact that even just a statement like that can have on someone can actually be tremendously negative and affect their outlook on life. I learned to protect myself from misinformation and shield myself from these negative experiences. You know, I had MS patients in my own practice, some of them in very worse shape than I was. And I looked to positive role models and positive people in my life as well. It was actually one of my patients that had MS that directed me towards the MS Society. She asked if I would be interested in serving on the board of directors for the Toronto chapter, and we formed a bond. And that was my first exposure to the MS Society and the community that the MS Society provides. Any chronic condition can be a very lonely place. And a community of those people afflicted by the same condition can bring some understanding to your condition. I also learned to surround myself with positive friendships. I lost friends as part of this process as I weeded people out in terms of the effect they had on me as well. Those people that brought me joy and fueled my energy were positive relationships that I invested in, and those people that had a negative impact on me, I protected myself by discontinuing. I served kind of behind the scenes within the MS Society for a number of years. I decided to kind of keep my condition hidden. I didn't, some of my rugby teammates knew, but I kind of kept it to myself in terms of my work life, my extended family. And I think it's important that everyone comes to this place of acceptance and being able to talk about it at different points in time. So that took me about 5 years to get to the point where I was good talking about it, being open at work, and seeking assistance, and getting more involved with the MS Society in visible ways. So I got involved with the MS bike initiatives, and I dove headfirst into MS fundraising by literally flipping over my handlebars. I signed up for the MS bike in Niagara, and we were heading out in the big pack and all the hoopla and everything with the ride. And I didn't see a pothole, flipped over my handlebars, took out the rest of the people I was biking with. And this was all within sight of the start line. I continued on my way and completed the 75-kilometer route after that. bleeding from my head and my elbow. But I was patched up nicely by the staff that they had on staff there. But this experience kind of whet my appetite for fundraising and being involved in various events. Some of these photos are taken from the Tour of Champions, which I rode with other top fundraisers in Canada in 2018. And I was actually able to go on this because I flipped over my handlebars, and the team I was part of thought it was such a gritty performance that in lieu of also doing quite well with my fundraising, sending me on this trip as well. So because of this performance and wiping out in my first charity ride, we named our team the Gritty Grinders. And it was gritty because of the fall, obviously, but also because you need to develop grit when you're dealing with a chronic illness, right? And you need to approach the challenges in your life with positive outlook, and you need to embrace the bumps along the way, the potholes along the way that we're all going to experience. Like I said on the first slide, it's not what happens to you, it really is how you react to it that we have control over. One other event I was privileged enough to be a part of occurred in 2019, and that was the MS-CANB Summit. And this was a gathering of young people, which I'm not, but a gathering of young people from across Canada. And for a lot of these individuals coming together to meet like-minded individuals who are dealing with some of the same challenges, it really was a transformative experience. One of these young women that I met there, she was from rural New Brunswick, and the only person she had met up to that point with MS was an elderly lady in a wheelchair in her small town. And she'd been diagnosed for 8 years. So just getting in contact with people her own age and people who were at the beginning of their journey and positive and able-bodied and with a positive outlook transformed her entire life. And these are the type of opportunities and events that the MS Society continues to explore. I want to pause here just for a second, and I want to ask you these two questions, and you can think to yourself about who you are, or who are you? Okay, and then think again about what do you do? And I want you to separate these two because they really are two different questions. Okay, who you are is your core principles, your core values. It's those things that make you who you are. And what do you do is what you do for a profession and what you do on a regular basis and that sort of thing. So who am I? I'm a father. I'm a caring partner, I'm an athlete, I'm a good person, I'm a humanitarian, and that's who I am. And that doesn't change with a chronic illness or deteriorating abilities or anything of the sort. And I separate that from what I do. And what I do, I'm a chiropractor, I teach, I administrate, I play rugby, I do charity work, I'm a volunteer. Right? So you can, if you take this in your life and you really separate your core values that make you who you are from what you do, when things happen or if they happen and things get taken away from you, it doesn't change who you fundamentally are. And that's really important when you're dealing with a chronic illness. You've probably heard the adage that you need to treat yourself first. It's not selfish to put yourself first. Okay, much like the oxygen mask on an airplane, they instruct you to put your mask on yourself before assisting others. And one of the key things I've found in navigating this illness for the last 11 years is that you have to treat yourself first. I'm a better father, I'm a better husband, I'm a better teacher, I'm a better administrator if I look after myself first, unapologetically. Okay. Nowadays, we're more connected than ever, but we also know that social isolation is a huge problem in our society. One of the things that we're programmed to do is check our phones repeatedly. And I hasten to guess how many times you have checked your phone, even during this presentation, or the things that you're multitasking with. Some chat rooms, some online support, some communities can be quite positive, and I include the MS Society in that, but some of these can be quite negative. Okay, so definitely watch yourself. If something is positive and it invigorates and energizes you, continue doing it. But otherwise, cut it free. Okay, so this is me meditating at a lake up at my cottage. No, not at all. I wish I could say this was me. The mind-body connection. We've learned about it in school. I saw the effect it had on patients when I was in practice, but I didn't appreciate it truly in myself until I started to experience mental health challenges. So one of the things I do is I do meditation, and meditation isn't one of these things that you have to dive into, these hour-long meditations or start wearing weird clothing or anything like that. It can just be taking 3, 5, 7 minutes to yourself to be mindful of your surroundings and to breathe and put yourself in a state. There's lots of apps that can help you with this. Calm, Headspace, lots of resources to teach people the act of being mindful of themselves. So I was doing this on the way when I was driving to work. Don't worry, my eyes were not closed. But I was doing some breathing exercises and getting this nice place. And then I got cut off by someone, and I swore at him out the window, and suddenly all the relaxation that I gained from that experience was lost. But it definitely does play a role, and the mind-body connection is real. When you're trying to establish healthy habits, it is often good to pair them up with habits that you already have. So this is not a sexy picture. This is a day-by-day pill box. You also remove the barriers to you establishing these new habits as well. For me, that in terms of taking my vitamins and my medication, the barrier was unscrewing 4 or 5 different jars and taking that every morning. So I got one of these pill boxes, and every Sunday now we fill it up, me and my daughters, with all the vitamins and medication for the week, and I place it right beside my toothbrush, because I have the habit of brushing my teeth and have never forgotten to brush my teeth. And now I'm 100% with taking my medication and my supplements, because I paired it with a habit I already had, and I removed the barriers that were standing in my way initially. Okay. Sleep. Another thing that hasn't been appreciated until late was the relationship of sleep and overall health. And the lack of sleep and its impact on overall health too. And only recently is it receiving the press it deserves as a performance enhancer, whether in the office place or in the sporting world, or with people battling illness. So make your room dark. We have the blackout blinds. I wear an eye mask. Actually, I just received a what's called a sleep hood, which is basically a misshapen toque, which you pull down over your eyes, and it blocks out any light that you have. You can do things like that to help you. There's lots of tricks of the trade. But the first thing I ask you to do is please put your phone away, out of the room, plug it in downstairs or somewhere else, because that blue light is going to affect your sleep, let alone the announcements or reminders. I could talk for an hour or two about nutrition and its impact on chronic illness, and some of the things that have worked for me. Another quote for you, William Osler is famous for saying, "Give a man a chronic condition and he'll live a long and healthy life." And in terms of diet, this was a wake-up call for me. I always worked out, I always exercised a lot, but I ate terribly. And when I realized that diet was going to be a key component to functioning optimally with this condition, it got a lot of things in line. One of the tips I recommend is put the healthy food out in the open. Wash your fruit when you get home from the grocery store. Put it out in a nice bowl, and it's there to grab. You see it all the time. You're more apt to eat healthy. Another thing would be to go out for treats. There's nothing wrong with having ice cream. There's nothing wrong with having a burger on occasion, but go out for those things. It's too easy to grab them in a weak moment if they're in your house. So make a trip for ice cream, and you'll enjoy it that much more. We actually went just the other day with the kids. Only a few more slides here. I had to shift my mindset on what constituted exercise. As mentioned, I played high-level rugby. I worked out like a fiend with 2 hours workouts with like lots of heavy weights. I had to totally rethink what athlete meant to me and what exercise meant to me. So now it involves, running, some stretching, some light weights, things like that. And you know what? I cut myself some slack. There have been many times when I felt pretty good and I put on my shoes and headed out for a run and just wasn't feeling it. And I'm back 7 minutes later. And I think the best thing we can do is be easy on ourselves when we don't accomplish what may have been our goal. There are days that I go without exercising because, I'm very mindful of myself, and I recognize that it may not be the day for that. And if exercise isn't your cup of tea, focus on the benefits of the exercise. So no one comes back for a run or a workout and says, man, I wish I didn't do that. Afterwards is when the endorphins are flowing. Everyone has a positive experience at the end of it. Try to leap over the uncomfortableness of getting dressed and going out for the exercise and focus on those positive feelings at the end of it. This works the other way for things like McDonald's. Don't focus on the immediate gratification and how it feels going down. Focus on the 20 minutes later when you have the gut rot and feel awful. I found that helping others also helps fulfill me. As mentioned, I'm involved with the one-on-one network and the peer support network, and it fills a void I have now that I've retired from being a chiropractor, and it also energizes me. I tell everyone I work with that I get as much out of the experience of helping someone than they probably are as well. Even speaking at events like this fulfills me, and this helps me as well. My memory's going. I forget things. Some of the tricks I've been using have been apps on my phone, Post-it notes placed everywhere. But most importantly is telling those who are close to me at home and at work that I may forget things, and it's not meant to be offensive, but I would just appreciate you reminding me that these things do happen, and it is not purposeful, and it's not meant to offend anyone. Okay. I've dabbled in journaling, daily gratitude practices. I kind of go in and out of these sorts of things, but reflecting on your day is incredibly important. At the end of the day, just reflect on it. Did I have a good day, a bad day? What parts were positive and negative? And it's important to dwell and reflect on the positive days just as much it is to dwell on the ones that didn't go as planned. And the main thing is to keep everything in perspective. There's so many things in our life that we cannot control. And if COVID taught us anything, is that we can't control everything in our lives. But the things that you can control and that you can latch on, that's going to help you solidify your priorities, and you're going to be able to get those right, regardless of what comes at you. So these are my two lovely daughters acting mischievous. So I like to think of MS as my unwelcome gift. I didn't ask for it, I didn't want it, but I got it anyways. So it's not so much what I do with the gift, but how I react to that gift and how I respond to it and use it for my benefit. So I challenge you, asking you, what are you going to do with this unwanted gift? Because it is truly a gift. You can dwell on it, you can be absorbed by it, you can go to a negative place, or you can choose to react differently to this unfortunate set of cards that we've been dealt. I'll leave you with one last quote and then hand it back to John. The quote is, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I want to thank you for tonight. There's my email. I encourage you to reach out at any point, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott. That was a very informative and helpful presentation, and we really appreciate it. Next up is Valerie Borggard. Valerie is an MS Navigator with the Multiple Sclerosis Society of Canada's Knowledge Network, and she will highlight this essential service that provides information and support. She will celebrate her 14th work anniversary with the Society in May. Welcome, Valerie.
Hi, guys. I'm with the Knowledge Network, and how we got to where we are with the MS Knowledge Network was because of our listening to MS listening to MS surveys that were done a few years ago, where people indicated that they really wanted one-stop shopping for services and supports instead of having to go to many different organizations. They would like a system navigator, somebody who could help guide in dealing with the healthcare systems and obtaining access to services. So what they had asked for, it's, they wanted enhanced access to what they need, when they need it, and using connections with the MS Society that works best for them. So the MS Knowledge Network was born, and it took a few years to get it up and going. And what we found was people wanted information about MS and research. They wanted a tool that helped locate community resources that enhanced quality of life, and an increased awareness of the MS Society and what supports and programs we have to offer. So what does that look like? Well, with the MS Society, we're really looking at, when they need it. People are saying that they wanted a larger time frame. So we're open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have a navigator available between those times, Eastern time. So the people in Atlantic Canada can access support later in the day, and the people on the West Coast can access services earlier throughout the day. We also have on our website information and resources with our community resource locator that are available 24/7 for individuals who want to look at those options. When the MS Knowledge Network first launched, we had two main channels of communication in 2016, phone and email. Since that time, we've grown, we've changed to meet ongoing and expanded needs of individuals living with MS. We launched in in October of 2016, and in 2017 in October, we added more options for connecting with us. We added live chat and social media. We also added in 2018 the start of our French Navigator service with the hiring of a bilingual navigator. And since then, we've also added the community resource locator to our websites. In 2019, we saw an expansion of our French service and service in Quebec with the hiring of a second bilingual navigator, along with the added social media channels where questions can be asked, topics discussed, and as navigators, we can assist in supporting the MS community across Canada. Spring forward to 2021, our team provides support by phone, email, live chat. We have a presence on social media, as well as self-serve web resources. And we do this through all of those different media channels, but we also have the opportunity to share what we do and provide support through webinars such as this, in-person sessions that are available in non-pandemic times, such as our MS Connect conference. We also have an opportunity when we were having live in-person community events. So whether that's, a local Christmas party, a walk, a bike tour, we would also be there helping people to see what they needed and to connect back. Who's on our team? So right now we have a team with 8 navigators, 6 English and 2 bilingual navigators on our team. Emily Knight is the director of program delivery, and she's in Toronto. Jen McDonnell is our information curator and specialist out of Ottawa. Laura Berry, who used to be an MS Navigator, is now the manager of the Knowledge Network, and she's in Kitchener. As I mentioned, we're across Canada. So I'm going to start on the West Coast and go east. We have Cheryl Harding out of Nanaimo, BC. There's me, and I'm in Edmonton, Alberta. Then we have Patty Milthorpe in Waseca, Saskatchewan. Dawn Young is in Barrie, Ontario. And Catherine Everts is in Cayuga, Ontario. Hope I got that name right. Then we have Natalie Vincent and Tracy Ann Curtis, and they're both, there are bilingual navigators, but they're both also based in Montreal. And then last but not least is our navigator on the East Coast, and that is Lorraine Brazo, and she's in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So even though we might not reside in someone's specific province or territory, we are well versed in the different topics such as provincial and territorial healthcare systems, income support programs, and other community related supports that we can help individuals navigate their way through and provide them with some of the tools that they might need to be able to advocate for on their own behalf. I said that we have services coast to coast, but really what does that look like? So this slide just kind of covers and provides the number of calls that we get from the different regions in Canada. Again, starting on the West Coast, it's BC and Yukon together. Alberta and the Northwest Territories, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario are by themselves, as is Quebec. And then the Maritime provinces, the Atlantic provinces are in one area. So as you can see, we've got more than double what other provinces have in Ontario, but that's also to be expected since they are one of the largest province in Canada. And Quebec, as I said, we're still increasing this number, and we've seen growth over the past year with that. So what happens when someone contacts a navigator? So we let people, when they call in our 1844 number, they hear that, that this call may be recorded for quality purposes. And we do. We review our calls, making sure they're on top of the information that people are needing and requesting. We will ask for consent to provide basic information from individuals so we can record the information in our database. It just helps us to provide continuity of service. We can't guarantee that at the same time a person is going to connect with the same navigator all the time. So this helps us to really provide that continuity of service. So that's through phone, but by email, if that's our only form of contact, we will request consent there as well. And they just really help us to compile anonymous statistical information of how and what services we are able to provide, and are we meeting people's needs. So what does it look like? This is a sample day of what an MS Navigator does. We have staggered start times, so we start at 8 a.m. in Atlantic Canada, and we go to 6 p.m. Pacific. So it's that 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. time frame. We all work remotely in our home offices, and we have online communication between us navigators. That's really important. And we have an ongoing chat conversation. So we're making sure that we have all the relevant information. So the first thing we do is we connect with our our team members, MS Society staff, other organizations as needed. And then throughout the day, we respond to individuals in real time. We're not, leaving a message to be returned in 2 or 3 days from now. But it's real time, which makes us fairly unique. I had an individual this week who said, it's really nice. I'm actually talking to a person. So we're really there able to help people assess their needs, provide information. We can provide referrals. We help people when they're in crisis to come up with some resources and supports that they can access in their communities. And we will provide follow-up as needed. A lot of people just, will phone back in and say, thanks, this worked. So we assess each person's needs. We respond to their individual needs on an individual basis with information and support. We help them to learn more about the various systems that they're dealing with, whether that's healthcare, home care, income support options, different care options, things like that, that we're always there to assist people to investigate. We also really help people to make informed choices and informed decisions. So when we're talking about navigating the systems, how do we do that? Because we're not able to navigate for an individual, but we can provide some tools and resources that can help them. So things like navigating the healthcare system, there's a really excellent guide. It's called the How-To Guide, and it was published in 2016 by the Health Charities Coalition of Canada. And it just talks about, what are your rights and responsibilities as a patient, how to talk with your doctors, how to request second opinions, all of those kinds of things. And it's a really important book. Like Bonnie had shared, information on attending appointments, the kinds of information do you want to have there. We've got some resources there, but also looking at how do I make the best out of attending a virtual appointment, something that we've had to really delve into in the past year. And just other topics, so things like disease-modifying therapies. We get a lot of calls on that. And it's, what are the options? What is it? What are the side effects or potential side effects? But also, people ask, sometimes they want a person to tell them which one to take. And like Bonnie, I'm sure, and the neurologists and Bonnie's colleagues, we can't just say, this is the one you've got to take. They need information. They need to weigh their pros and cons. So we have some resources that can help people, whether they're starting on a new medication or switching medications. We can provide them with some of that information and support so they can help make those informed decisions and choices. Another really big area that we deal with is employment concerns and issues such as, should I disclose? Should I tell my employer? But what if I need job accommodations, or maybe feeling like discrimination is happening? So it's all those kinds of things that when we talk about the helping to navigate the systems and the referrals, that we can provide them with some of those tools and resources to help them explore their options. Because we're the first point of contact for many people, we need to really be up to date with research, drug approvals, government changes, key messaging, and even major events happening within the MS Society. So like our MS Bike, the Burgers to Beat MS, the Readathon this year, the eye challenges that are cropping up, that people are so creative with. We have to be up to date on all of those different kinds of things. We also liaise with our colleagues across the country. So for things like support groups, the quality of life application, government relations. So we're really providing that information and that support as well, not only just for the programs such as the one-to-one peer support, the CPP assistance, application assistance program, all of these different kinds of things. So we can make a referral or liaise with our colleagues there, but we also, for government relations, really this data, the statistics that we can gather from our conversations with individuals can really help to guide what is important, and at a provincial level, but also at the federal level, when our government relations teams put forward asks. We also all work on individual projects, and we sit on various committees within the organization. So we're working all as a team, and we're just the team that is kind of that front-facing team. As mentioned, we have our challenges as well because we work across all the time zones. And it's just really working together so we can make sure that we're providing that continuity of service and support. And that's why we really do need for individuals to give us some of that information so we can provide that support. Okay, there we are. So the resources that we provide, MS information, so just general MS information, things like symptoms, steps that individuals may or may not try, that many of our publications have in place that provide some of those strategies, and talking with their MS nurse and their neurologist when individuals call and say, I think I'm having a relapse, what do I need to do? So just kind of bringing them back to that information that we're not healthcare professionals, and it's really important to talk with those individuals that are, like Bonnie had mentioned, on the healthcare team. MS treatment information. We do have some allied conditions. We also provide information on research and research updates, on wellness and wellness programs in our communities, and community service referrals.
Thank you, Val. And I do want to let everyone know that we will be taking submitted questions and providing answers in the future on the social media channels. You can also reach out to your navigator or their medical team for any other specific questions that you've got. Catherine, if you don't mind, please post the link to an evaluation in the chat box. This is your first opportunity to share your feedback about the 2 webinars, and it will help us to prepare and improve for future sessions, but please only fill it out once. We will be sending an email soon to all registered participants, and it will include the link of the evaluation, so you'll also get that email. So those who participated by phone will also have an opportunity to complete it. Please take a few minutes, whether tonight or when you get the email, to complete it. We'll also share the link to the recordings of both MS 101 webinars. If you aren't already receiving the monthly MS e-news, you can sign up at mssociety.ca/newsletter. Receiving this publication directly to your email each month will keep you connected to the MS community and informed. You'll be kept up to date on the Society's programs and services, plus fundraising events, research and treatment news, inspiring personal stories, news on our advocacy and government relations initiatives, and so much more. The Knowledge Network is a hub of knowledge and highly trained MS navigators who provide consistent quality MS information and support for anyone in Canada. Navigators provide trusted information on all aspects of life with MS. It's easy to connect whether by phone, email, or live chat. The service is available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, plus in English and French. The one-to-one peer support program is a telephone and internet-based program for individuals living with MS and for loved ones of people with MS as well. You can connect confidentially with someone who understands what you are going through because they've had similar experiences. You can choose to connect just once or sign up for a 6-month match. To learn more about the one-to-one peer support program, you can go to our website under support and services. Now, I want to take this opportunity to highlight a couple of upcoming events that you may want to be involved with. We're very excited that this year there will be 2 virtual MS Connect conferences, and they are being planned for April 28th and 29th and November 22nd and 26th. Join us for information sessions, social connection, interactive exercises and wellness sessions, and so much more. Registration for the spring conference will be available after the Easter weekend on our website, or contact an MS Navigator for support. A Hear from the Experts webinar will be offered on April 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a topic of demystifying research with Dr. Julie Petrin. Go to our website under Nationwide Webinars for more information and to register, or contact an MS Navigator for support. Also, the MS Walk will be offered virtually on World MS Day, which is May 30th this year, and registration is live on our website. The virtual MS Bike is being planned for September 18th, and we're hopeful we will be able to offer a couple of in-person events as well with plenty of social distancing and safety measures. Registration is live for this event also, and more event information is available on our website. As we wrap up this session, on behalf of the MS Society of Canada, I'd like to thank Bristol Myers Squibb, who provided sponsorship to make this education event possible. Again, this week's MS 101 webinar have both been recorded, and we will share the links with all registered participants soon. So you can go back and review the information or perhaps share with your networks. And thanks to all of you for participating. I hope that you all have a great night. Bye now.